Unmuted.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the April 8th meeting of the Parks and Recreation Advisory Board. First item on the agenda, I'm Marilyn Hull. Our chair, John Nalbandian, may be appearing, but I'm going to start the meeting off. First order of business is to approve the minutes of the Monday, March 11th meeting.
Before we do that, I'm gonna go ahead and do a little housekeeping item.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
We want to remind everyone that the people on the Zoom meeting, that this meeting is being recorded and broadcast on the city's YouTube channel and cable channel 25. Please remember to mute yourself during the meeting when you are not speaking. The chat function for the public meeting is disabled. All chats will go directly to Porter tonight. The chat function for this public meeting, oh, I already said that. Unless you are participating during this meeting, please turn off your video. This allows the active member participants to be seen on the screen. You will still be able to hear the meeting. When you are participating, please turn your video on. If you have any trouble, you can send me a chat. Send a chat and Porter will get you. And then the city reserves the right to mute people or turn individuals' videos off, minimize distractions during the meeting. And board members, please leave your video on during the meeting. Thank you.
John, I opened the meeting, but we didn't get anywhere. So we're on B, approved minutes.
So, okay. So, any additions, subtractions to the minutes? Motion to approve?
A motion to approve the minutes.
My second.
Seconds, been moved and seconded to approve the minutes. Let's see, all in favor, raise your hand. We'll get this done. Anybody opposed? Okay, good. Okay, next item is public comment. So do we have any members of the public wanting to comment?
No, we don't.
Okay, next item is introduction of new board member, Lisa Hallberg.
Hello.
Oh, hi, Lisa. Lisa, will you tell us a little bit about yourself and your interest in Parks and Rec, arts and culture?
My name is Lisa Hallberg. I work for the University of Kansas. I've lived in Lawrence for a little over 20 years. I previously served on the Bicycle Advisory Committee and was chair of that committee before it was disbanded to be part of the Multimodal Transportation Committee or Commission. And I would like very much to get involved with advisory boards again. And in particular, I am very interested in outdoor activities, things like bicycling and running and being able to use public outdoor spaces. And I would hope to be able to help out however I can.
Well, welcome. You're very, very welcome to join us.
Thank you.
Let's see, why don't we move on to,
You want to introduce everybody to her?
sorry?
Did you want to make an introduction of this?
Oh, yeah, sure. I'm sorry. So Lisa, I'm John Nalbandian. I'm the chair of the board.
I'm Sam Thomas.
Arneill, board member.
Lee Ice, board member.
Hey Lisa, Vicky Colley-Akers, board member. Darren Wilson, supervisor of Nature Center, not a board member.
Saying, not a board member, Annette Dagan, recreation operations manager.
I'll point to Mark.
I'm Mark Ecker, I'm assistant director of Parks and Recreation.
And I'm Porter Arneill, assistant director for arts and culture.
Marilyn Hull, board member.
And Roger Steinbrock, first I've talked with you, and I would say that she's out of town, and so that's one of the reasons why we're doing this via Zoom, and she hasn't met with staff yet too. So she was just going to kind of be here, and I said, well, you're a board member, so we'll let you be a board member. So.
I'm Lindsay Hart, assistant director of recreation, also serving as interim director for about another month.
Okay.
Maria Chavez, board member. Nice to meet you.
Sorry, guys. I just came back from the pool. I must be water. Let's see, we have a presentation from that nature center.
This second here, I need to get down the layers here.
While you're setting that up, thank you to Dara Wilson for joining us. We've had a lot of changes and improvements out at the Nature Center, and this was something I know Marilyn had recently visited and said, hey, we kind of want to get an update on the Nature Center. And so we asked Dara if she'd join us today, and thanks to Annette for coming as well. But yeah, appreciate you coming. A different Nature Center these days.
I'm curious if all the board members have been to Prairie Park Nature Center before. Recently? No,
Yeah.
okay. We definitely would invite you to go recent and see some of these changes that Dara's gonna go over in person.
So the Nature Center, you guys all know what it sounds like, has been open since '99. So in 24 years, there hasn't been a whole lot of changes inside the facility. So this last year, we really kind of inject some fresh ideas into the Nature Center and into the park. And yeah, I'll go over some of those changes we did. Roger, you can hit the next button. It's a sliding thing. Okay. It's not as satisfying as it's not done. But so improve the facility features. We'll kind of take some pictures of that, or not take, but look at some pictures of that. Maintenance crew have been super helpful in bringing the building kind of up to date, cleaning it up. Some of those things people know us for before as kind of a smelly animal place, that's not really our thing anymore. We're not all that smelly, maybe just a little bit, but not what it used to be. And renovations and additions to the park. Maybe you've heard in the news about some of the things that are coming soon. We're excited about. And we've also pumped in a lot of new programming and special events. We've always been known for our school field trips and our camps, but we're really trying to up our public programs and just fun nature center events that more people can come than just like 20 people for the class. So we are constantly trying to come up with new ideas, things that the community would really like to see in Lawrence, and things you can only get at our nature center. And we'll see a little bit of that here in a second, but next one, Roger. Okay, so in April, first thing we kind of dove into was the educational signage. Again, we've been open since '99. Some of the signs were the same since '99, so it was time to change things out. Some of the information was even wrong because, you know, a lot of new things come out in 25 years. So we actually were reading the Lawrence Journal World and came across these articles of wows of wonder. A lady named Lori Treidfeld, she's in Missouri. We started looking into her stuff. She's published in 150 different newspapers around the world for the last 15 years, and she has quite a collection of all different things. So we asked her about her nature stuff, if she wanted to donate any of her work to the Nature Center that kind of revolved around the animals we have at the Nature Center, our exhibits. And within a week or two, we had about a dozen of her signs up on the wall. So if you go there, you'll see her work. They're about 20 by 30. Like I said, there's 12 of them. You gotta see our opossum in front of the opossum sign. She actually made a custom sign for us on the tall grass prairie, so that's not up there. But if you walk into the Nature Center, it's right up front. She made that just for the Nature Center. It's pretty cool. So she's kind of a big sponsor right now in our signage, which is great. And we have some volunteers that are making some customs for even more when you go. So check it out. Kind of inspired in-house signage. Staff have really worked hard for the last year to make new signs that are more eye-catching, engaging, signs you actually want to read and learn. So, which makes more sense if you saw our old signs. They're just like Microsoft printed signs. So these are big change. So we've redone all those diorama signs, and now we're going back and adding ways to make it interactive, ways to learn through sensory. Because, I mean, honestly, we can put so many signs up. Really, the best way to learn is like your own experience. You take those things home with you more than what you read, especially with the younger age, or have some buttons there you can push to see what the sounds of the animals in the woodland make.
There's these magnifying glass to kind of see the adaptations of these bugs on those wheels. That sign there's talking about the insects that live on the forest floor and their adaptations. So they go together. And the boy there, he's measuring up his wingspan with the birds that you can find here in Kansas, the bald eagle, the turkey vulture, the red-tailed hawk. So I don't know, just kind of fun to learn through play. So we're trying to find ways to incorporate more of that. So it's a nature center, but a little bit of a children's museum that also works for adults.
Yeah.
And that's ongoing. We're still adding. And then we redid our dioramas. The first one was our wetland one, and we cleaned it out, completely redid how the water works in the ponds, and actually we turned it, it's not just a diorama, but it's also the turtle enclosure, which has made it really fun because when people go to see that wetland display, a turtle will pop out from between the mounts or pop up out of the water, and they come right up to the edge there, or up to the plastic you can see along the diorama, and they want snacks because we let the public feed the water turtles. So it's been fun for the public to kind of engage with the wetlands diorama, and the turtles are getting engagement from the public, and then it's kind of inspiring some ideas to reduce some of the other animal closures, such as our opossum and prairie dogs, in ways that the public can just walk up and, have that encounter in a safe way, where they're not actually touching them or feeling them, but learn about that animal by looking at close up. And hopefully the animal gets something out of it too, looking at the human close up, I guess. So ways to change our dioramas and enclosures to just make it overall fulfilling for animals and people that visit. This is the Prairie diorama. The newest addition there is Billy the Bison. Yeah, Billy. Yeah, we've kind of gone back and forth with names. If you have a suggestion, please let us know, because we can't have it settled quite yet. But right now it's Billy. And he looks like he's peeking from the tall grass prairie, because here in Douglas County, we're known for tall grass prairie. Historically, that's what 85% of the county was. So it looks like he's peeking out of the grass was kind of a goal, what you would have seen like 150 years ago if you were out and about. And he was funded by Haskell's Outreach USDA Extension Program. And they have also brought in some interns. They've been amazing. We're working on a partnership with them, and they've been a lot of help with some of these exhibits. The next one that we scrolled through actually is one that he helped put together that kind of goes with the prairie display. We keep going.
Okay, I didn't know.
Sorry. This one is the new exhibit, very close to the prairie. You can see Billy the Bison from it. And it is highlighting the near extinction of the bison and its impact on the Plains tribes. So several Haskell students have come in and worked on these signs for us. And it's also something we're still working on. We want to have a modern take on it, and we're trying to reach out to local tribes to see if they want to add some wisdom to it, what their recommendations are, and then maybe down the road have some sort of event, kind of a grand opening of these exhibits. So it's also playing a Kins Burns video up there, so you can hang out for like however long you want. The video is like 4 hours, but you can pick up little bits and pieces while you're there. Actually, City of Lawrence is mentioned in it. If you haven't seen it, you should watch it. It's not in a good way with the bison, but it's in it. You should watch it. And then, like, maintenance guys have, like I said, brought the building up to date and cleaned out all the old carpet, and now we have this luxury vinyl flooring, which really has helped with the odors that we were familiar with before at the Nature Center. It also makes it so the rooms are more versatile. We are able to easily clean up the rooms, get going for the next event. Like the preschool room right now, when it during the day in play, it's got nature blocks, a little campfire scene, a tent. But if there's an event in the evening, we move that stuff out really quickly. We kind of use it as a room for, like if we're doing a special event, we'll do face painting or animal encounters in that room. Just a nice little additional room. And then the classroom can also turn in easily to a turtle yoga recreational room, a fitness center. So it's helped make the rooms more versatile. And then we have the cleanup of around the building. Now, when you do go to the Nature Center, that's probably something you'll notice right off the bat. You can see the building. Before it was hidden by
invasive and even unwanted native plants that kind of popped up around the area that shouldn't be there. Because again, historically, this building would have been sitting in a tall grass prairie. So we're bringing the prairie back to Prairie Park, or the maintenance crew has been doing that. And also with the organization Native Lands working together to reseed some of those prairie areas in front of the building and expand on that. And it's just looking amazing out there. When you go out, it's nice to see the prairie. And that preschool room also works as an observation room. When it's really cold, like last winter it was really cold, or when the summer when it gets really hot, a lot of people will just hang out in the preschool room just to view the prairie. So,
Is that a white structure at the left of the building?
the preschool room?
Preschool room.
There, yes, right there. And then we're gonna have some new signage out here soon that kind of highlights the tall grass prairie too. It'll be pretty large signs that about the size of that door. It'll make it so people are just more aware of what historically the land should be in that area. And then we have a new archery range, ADA accessible archery range. This is neat because staff would spend so much time putting up the archery range and taking it down, a lot of minutes and energy just to do the archery class. But this will make it so we can roll things out within hopefully 10 minutes, do our class, and then roll things back in another 10 minutes or so. The nets aren't there yet, they're coming. Right now it's just the part where you can see where the poles are, where the net's gonna be attached to. But they're shooting, into these mature cedar trees. Well, they're not shooting into the trees. Again, the net will be there, but they're surrounded by these mature cedar trees. So it really gives this, outdoor classroom sort of feel, or an outdoor injury area while you're practicing your archery skills. And then there's a shed. I don't have the shed in the building, but the shed will make it, there's a fence to it, will be where we store all the archery stuff. And not just us doing more archery classes, we also want to invite other Parks and Rec divisions with their camps to bring in to do archery there. Archery for everyone, not just the nature center. And then this you may have heard in the news or seen in some other updates, the Prairie Park Pavilion, the KU architecture students from 509 Design Build are starting hopefully in the next week or so on this Prairie Pavilion. I think they're getting, I see them out there. They're still surveying. They're getting ready to build. I just heard recently the poles are coming in from Evergy. They've already been through Douglas County Public Works and they've donated the signs and they're putting pieces together in their studio. And then they're just gonna bring all the pieces out and build it, I guess, in a week or so. It'll be fast moving, I guess. It's amazing what they came up with. It's one of a kind architecture that kind of supposed to have that feel of in the prairie with also just being a hard, structure, the best they could do to make it feel natural in that area. I think they did a pretty good job. They even had a meeting back in February with the community to get their input of what they would like from the structure, what they would find most useful, any suggestions they had, and they took them, and then they came back with this 1,500 square foot design for this structure we're looking at. The seating was already there. That's from the Allen Fieldhouse, right? Yeah, their parking lot.
From the stadium.
The stadium.
Parking lot, the football stadium.
Yeah, and so other bits and pieces are being donated to this. And they're working with several contractors to get their input and how to make this a sound structure. So we really look forward to this because one, we can possibly rent it out for more revenue, and it also will make it so we can do larger programs. So right now that classroom that we saw a picture of, about 50 to 75 people can fit in there, but this will fit, 100 adults, but maybe more like 150, field trip students can fit under there, and we can do larger programs, more programs then. Because a lot of schools want to bring like 300 kids out for a field trip, but we have to break it up in a couple days. Or we offer to go to them, but we want them to come to the nature center, come see the park, come experience nature. So this makes it so we can grow. I'm excited for it.
Where is this located in relationship to the building? We go back to the building here.
South. Straight south of it. Mm-hmm. Yep. Again, they cleared out some invasive and
inside
overgrown to get a spot for it.
Right.
Perfect.
Close to the bathroom.
Yeah.
Yeah, go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's close, we can roll things out pretty quickly after. And this is what's hopefully coming soon. We'll see on, was it April 16th? This, I just wanted to tell you about the grant we submitted with the Douglas County Heritage Conservation Council. With their open space category they had. We applied for over $70,000, hopefully to add new interpretive signage around the Prairie Park Preserve, do some restoration work there on the north end. Well, in partnership with Haskell, they would help lead some of that restoration work. And it's cleaning up honeysuckle. There's a lot of it there. There's that stream that runs in comes from the street, so we might plant up to 300 native species or so, just to kind of help filter pollutants and keep sediment from washing into Mary's Lake, and help and drive into some more community events to do, like help clean up Mary's Lake or learn about indigenous wetlands restoration practices. And then possibly a 276 square foot dock will be replacing there's a T-shaped dock that is on the map. That's the one further down, actually.
Oh, this one?
That one, replace it. It's getting there in age, and so it's time for replacement. And this one that we're proposing would be bigger. Multiple people can fish off of it. We can maybe pull the canoes and kayaks up to it. Possibly add an observation bench so they can watch wildlife. And the other thing is we also try to partner with Parks and Wildlife to add some habitat structures. So when you're out there, you can see like the herons nesting in what they call these rookery poles in the water, or mallards coming up to the mallard nesting boxes, or wood duck. Kingfishers hang out at Mary's Lake a lot. Add some more perching along the edges, just so you can see more of the wildlife, because it is an important green space for the community as well as like a wildlife corridor in the city of Lawrence. Let's make it so we can see them.
Any consideration of parking down there?
What was that?
Parking down there?
We didn't, no, not any, that's not in the plan.
Not at this time. I don't think we have that anywhere in our, do we?
No, it's basically a walking type.
Yeah,
It's a little bit of a hike.
This is going back to our programs, our innovative programs and events. These are just some of the ones I threw up here. Yeah, we're trying to provide something different, works with what, hoping the citizens of Lawrence are enjoying it. We really want to, be part of that unmistakable identity of the city. So we're turtle yoga. Have you heard of turtle yoga anywhere else? I feel like Prairie Park's the only place that offers it. Enchanted Tea Party with the Animals is coming up soon. That's our next event. Have a tea party with your child, or even adults. We have grown women that are coming where any age can have a tea party. And the animals will be there at their tables for a little bit, and they'll move around every 15 minutes or so and have a tea party with a different animal. Nighttime at the Nature Center has become pretty popular. We usually get 50 people that come to that, or 50 people that pay. We haven't been charging for 2 and under, so it's probably more like 60 to 65 people that come to that. So yeah, we're just always trying to find new things to do that are appealing. Always up for suggestions. If you think of something that would be a great event idea at the Nature Center, please let us know, because we're up for trying things different.
Dara and her team have done a tremendous job of brainstorming and coming up with so many new programs. And I really, really give them a lot of credit. She's led and had visions and a lot of help from Mark and the park and maintenance crews as well. So big shout out to those 2 individuals for, coming up with so many of the ideas and then helping getting them implemented. So, and we invite everyone out there whenever you can make it. It's really phenomenal, all the changes that have been made. So, very good.
Good. Comments, questions?
I would like to say thank you to Dara for all of this. We were 2-3 years ago, maybe more, looking at facing the possible closure
Yeah.
of the center, and the public outcry told us that this is a space that people want to have. And now you're just making it so much better.
Yeah,
So thank you so much. It's very, very pleased.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
thank you, Dara.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming.
Well, thanks for having us. Or, you know, come to the speech.
Jeff, do you want to?
Jeff, you want to go to the chair?
A rolling chair, yeah. I'm in one chair. Okay,
You pick which one.
I'll go over here.
I do have, what Valerie knows, I do have a question. Did they have to close down during all those renovations? No, they just did it.
Yeah, everything just went right around them, yeah. Our staff was great. I mean, to Mark and his staff, they did an amazing job, and it's kind of one of those like a house project. You fix one thing, you go, hey.
Yeah.
They just, it was worth doing, and I mean, so many improvements, you know, that needed to happen, and it's amazing what a difference.
And then they find out in 2 weeks if they get the grant?
I think, is that what yeah, I know it's coming back by, yeah. So I know they worked really hard to get, and it was a tight turnaround too, so they worked hard to get that grant submitted, so we're really hopeful that we get that, keep things moving.
Okay, next item is the draft letter to the city commission about Lawrence Loop. And it was suggested last time, I think Jackie suggested it, Marilyn volunteered they both volunteered to draft a letter, and I did some editing as well. And so this is the result, and I was looking over it again, and I think I edited out the first paragraph that said something about, given the rejection of the blah, 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 and I think that needs to go back in.
Oh.
You know, because it's a little out of context, yeah. So with your permission, I'll do that. Or Marilyn, you want to do that?
I can do that.
Yeah, great, that's good. So any comments about this? Or I guess what we want is a vote of support to send this letter to the commission.
Question, Valerie, no, would this plan rule out a plan down the road for you know, a more elaborate?
I think that was rejected, right?
It was rejected, but.
It was rejected for this past year. They may still apply again, but I still think from what we're seeing with the public that the need to really complete the loop, you know, is really important. And so I think this is a way to keep the pressure on that it's, you know, that we're acknowledging what our community's needs are. And for those people who were disappointed in the fact that the other grant did not pass, this could be a feasible alternative to make sure that they see that our, you know, Parks and Rec is continuing to push, that we know that this is an important space that needs to be completed.
Yeah, and I think that some of the dream big concepts proved to be unfeasible for a variety of reasons. The Bowersock Power Company and the dam, part of that, but you know, we at one point looked at the railroad corridor, that wasn't going to work. So could there eventually be something grander and more beautiful? Probably yes, but hasn't been envisioned yet. And meanwhile, I think the community's eager to just finish the loop.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
I think that's the strongest message. We want to finish the loop. Yeah, that's good.
To question, Mark Eckert, Assistant Director, do you want to put this in terms of budgeting? In other words, we're starting to work on the 2025 budget process. Do you want to encourage them to put a CIP project in for 25? In other words, give them an action statement, because right now it's floating in limbo, it just didn't happen. So there isn't a replacement project to put it back in. So I don't know if you recall when we were doing the grandiose schemes, there was basically a downtown phase, and then there was the bigger cross the river, go around. Those were the tens of millions that went through downtown, a couple million. To me, those are feasible projects, the 2 million, with it potentially within the city budgeting. So I don't know if you want to be a little more specific or just leave it.
You know what, might be that we use this letter as a prelude to that. And then when the budget comes, budget time comes, then we refer back to our continuing support for this.
Do you have the project ready? They kind of through town. Can you give us a number? If we were to decide to be more specific?
I think the design got far enough through if they had phased components and how much those phases would cost. So we would have to extract that out and take out some of the river crossings and whatnot. So yeah, I think that number's available. We'd have to make sure it's a complete project. In other words, it doesn't go there and stop. It has to get, how does it get over the railroad? And that was a phase we looked at too.
Yeah. I don't know, John, I think they're, if we have their attention, and we have at least preliminary information about a project, I'd say deliver it to them now, because the budget process has probably already started.
Oh.
And it's sort of through May and June is when the decisions get made, right?
Correct.
Yeah, so coming back to them a month later, I don't know about
So
that.
would that make sense to you, the staff, if we tried to say something about the budget in this letter?
I feel like encouraging them to include a project in the CIP that closes the loop might be good.
Oh, okay. So maybe, Marilyn, maybe that's the way to.
For 2025. Yeah, get specific.
We encourage you to include in the capital improvements project, you know.
Because we kind of went big and then they just said, no, well, then, but there's pieces that can.
Mark, did you say the downtown part is already figured out though?
We had a route for it.
Yeah, so we could say that part is.
Yeah, it all tied together. There was two options. There was the downtown, then there was the river. So those were both studied and cost estimated to come up with the total $21 million we were proposing. So I think that can be extracted out.
Vicki?
I'm sorry, I don't know much about this. So if it goes through this, is it a shared use path along the street? So there's not separation between traffic, or there is? And I ask because the appropriate signage and devices to support traffic is really critical, because safety, I think, is a significant barrier to use.
Yeah.
And it just feels vague at the moment.
Yeah, the route that was proposed goes basically from the Santa Fe station, goes up 7th Street. There's a wide right of way there. So there's potential to put the bike path, shared use path outside of the roadway. And then it kind of diagonals over to the parking garage. And then we go basically one side or the other of City Hall underneath the two bridges. And then how do we get from basically the West Star substation over to Constant Park? So you got to fly over the train tracks. So that was that proposed route. So the hardest part of that is flying over the river. The rest of it's somewhat doable. It's not the best trail in the world, but it gets us connected to downtown and through downtown.
Jack Becker, I can say that the initial route that you came up with is actually the route I take on my bike every single time when I try to get to North Lawrence or I try to get over to Constant Park. So as a cyclist perspective, I think you're potentially looking at the best possibility we have for not the best situation for having to be on a public street and riding.
Would the trail be on existing pavement and sort of marked off with some bullets or something like that?
I think we had a new trail built along 7th Street. Until you got up to Wood Street, then it kind of diagonals over to the parking garage. Because there's a couple of city parking lots there that went through to get parking garage to City Hall.
Does that route have a name?
It did in the plan. I think we were calling it the downtown loop or something. I'd have to go back and look.
Is the timing on this, is there timing on this relevant? When to get this to the city commission
The recommendation.
and the budget, and this whole thing we're talking?
Yeah, I think it's just a funding proposal, basically. So in other words, we went big, we didn't do big, so there's still a component that's buildable. That's not
So when do we need to get our letter?
I would say now, because actually the CIP projects have all been submitted and they're all being graded right now.
Okay, how about then that we defer to Marilyn, Jackie, and Mark to put something together and to proceed, rather than having to bring it back to us. Does that sound okay? Could we have a motion to that effect?
Thank you for that.
I move that we accept that.
Oh, good.
I second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that we prepare a letter that includes budget and our commitment to get this done. And okay, is there a second motion?
I think, yeah. Val seconded.
Val seconded, so you need to vote.
I'm sorry. All in favor? Oh, yeah. All in favor? Opposed? Okay, great. Yeah, that's good. Thank you. Okay, next is the comprehensive plan steering committee update. So, you
Want me to give an update and then you can?
Yeah.
Okay, Lindsay Hart, interim director. I could just kind of give a quick update and then John can kind of speak on behalf of his role in the steering committee. But we had a steering committee meeting last week on Thursday, and that was the first time we are beginning to see the recommendations as far as the comprehensive plan. And so we had a couple staff workshops that lasted a total of about 8 hours over 3 days. So staff have been reviewing this, and it's a lot of information, as you can imagine, but it's really good. We're going through it. We're being very detailed, and it looks really good so far. So we were able to share about half of it with the steering committee last week. We're working with our consultants to schedule possibly one more steering committee meeting to kind of finish going through some of the information we didn't get to. And then our next public meeting will be Thursday, May 23rd. And that is when they will also share the program recommendations and ask for more public input, start to go over some of the concepts and some of the ideas. So, and that's on the agenda here, but it will be at SPL in the Legacy Room on Thursday, May 23rd, 5:30. And so as we, again, if we're able to add another steering committee, and then we'll kind of continue to, schedule meetings from here on out as we get through the next few months. We are, our new director starts May 13th, and so he will be here, and he will be on board for that open house on the 23rd, and then we're going to give him a chance to kind of get caught up, and then, we may slow things down just a little bit until he feels like he kind of is on board and understands where we're at, where we're going, and then we'll hopefully set the remainder of the schedule, try and get this finished this summer. And so, I don't know, John, if you want to throw in any thoughts?
Yeah, I do. I think from what I've seen, this is incredibly detailed. And I think that really empowers the operational side of Parks and Rec. Because, I mean, I don't know if how detailed you've seen it, but I mean, it's even like, I was like blown away by resurfacing of this portion of the floor of the, really, a little more detail than I'm done, but nevertheless, I think when it comes to budget time, this is, unless I'm wrong, I think it's really going to empower the staff to be able to push forward. My concern, and maybe it's just mine, is that this is an operational document, and I hope it doesn't rule out aspirations. And so that's, you find a combination some way to make sure that the document is able to, that the consultants are able to put together something that represents the aspirations as well as the operations. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. And I know that's a challenge. We kind of gave the steering committee, and we want big ideas, and like you said, we need both. We need the realistic things as a guide, but we also need big ideas and think down the road. It's a 10-year plan, so.
Yeah, I mean, it's good. Have you looked at? So you guys know what I'm talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, we just got it today, this afternoon. Yeah, I agree with you wholeheartedly, John. When I was looking at it, it looked like we had the city's survey and stuff, and then we had a humongous to-do list. And what I didn't see is goals and objectives or anything that's sort of overarching and more big picture.
And also keep in mind that's half of it. So what we didn't go over were the program recommendations, where it talks about you need to do this type of programming or sponsorships or financial things like that. So that's the half we didn't get to. So what you're looking at was just the facilities, operations of the facilities, and then the arts included. Okay. So I'm glad you pointed that out, but that, like I said, we were only able to get through about half of the list of recommendations. So that's why we're hoping to get another meeting scheduled, so then we can share the more programming side of things, which is what I think you're good.
Well, not just programs, but in terms of parks, what are the general aspirations? Mm-hmm. You don't want to have a laundry list of them, but it'd be nice to have 1 or 2 or 3 big picture, like this is where we see ourselves going. Yeah. And all these to-do lists are in service of this.
Well, like the city's comprehensive plan. The city's comprehensive plan does have those 4 or 5 areas. And so. Okay, good.
And a lot can change in 12 years, so we can foresee even the needs or desires.
Yeah.
So I can talk a little bit about how some of that got filled in, because we went in and did the 5-year CIP that the city commissions approved and made sure that was enumerated in there. So we wanted to see those projects showing up where we know they're going to show up, where we think they'll show up if funding follows. So that, and then the dream things that were on the unfunded list for CIP that have been proposed. So all of the Lawrence Loop is in there. So somewhere you may have to look through and find it in that particular park. Another off-leash dog park, an indoor turf facility. There's all kinds of dreams and inspirational things in there. We just kind of went in and said, okay, if we did that, then we'd probably go here. So if you really run through that whole list, the list is crazy. I completely agree, and I don't make it crazy, so. But we're really looking at a crossroads time in the city where we're gonna talk about asset management and really understanding what the long-term needs of the city is to maintain facilities we've built. So I wanted to make sure we had enough detail in there to tie into that asset management concept. So it'll be interesting to see how all that plays out, but I opted for more detail than less. There's some really general policy things in there too that talks about universal signage for all parks so that everything looks the same. There's some of those things that are more idealistic, but it doesn't really tell you how much that costs to do. So there's a mix. And like Lindsay said, there's two very important tabs that we haven't even touched yet. So it's how does the department operate going long range? How do we incorporate the arts and culture into parks? So there's a lot more to it.
You all should hear the discussion of the restrooms.
All genders.
Oh, it's
Not even that, that's the number.
the number of where they go
Need more,
with the condition.
Keeping it real,
that's right.
People gotta go.
So we gotta go.
I know equity is one of the commitments for the city's strategic plan. How did equity figure into creating that list of priorities, or can you think of a way that it shaped it in particular, or?
I do know that when the results are going to be presented in the entire plan itself, we are going to make sure, and the consultants are working on this, tying in all of the strategic plan and the commitments to that. So they are going to be noted for every single thing. It's going to show how it ties into the strategic plan. So that's a more general answer, but it will be shown when we start to see and when the final plan is given. So, I mean, specifically, I just think through the steering committee and just all the feedback they've heard, and the ETC survey for sure is obviously shaping a lot of it.
We do a lot with equity as far as geographic locations of facilities.
Okay.
So in other words, if we have a splash pad, how about all those people over there? They don't have a splash pad. So we look at where things should be located: playgrounds, rec centers, swimming pools, trails. We do a lot with, we don't really care who lives where. We just want to make sure we're dispersing the services throughout the city so that everyone, no matter where you are, in a certain radius of a park or a splash pad or a playground area. So we look at that lens a lot.
Yeah.
So when I say I don't care, that's not really what I mean. But if I look at East Lawrence has a lot of parks, and West Lawrence really doesn't. So you start looking at some of that when you map it and go, holy cow! There's a whole section of the city that has very few parks, or the trails that connect neighborhoods. How are we well connected, or are we not well connected? So the mapping shows a lot of those deficiencies in the city. So we deal with that quite a bit.
Yeah, I do wonder if there was, I was wondering if there was exploration of like who would benefit from these changes, and are we prioritizing things that maybe fewer people benefit from, but those people who benefit are people who are historically excluded or vulnerable in different ways? And I'm
we could slice this so many ways.
Sure.
It's kind of interesting because you look at it from just a facility need view, then look at it, well, okay, East Lawrence really has lower income maybe, so should we provide different services there than we provide over here? It's a never-ending ability to just divide.
Yes.
Well, that's where public health fits into. Constantly trying to look for connections between public health and what we do, and and Vicky's a data person, so there's real potential, I think, in being able to connect health data about the community with the parks and rec locations and that kind of thing. Maybe kind of cool.
And John will be able to take some of that information to this next steering committee as well. As a representative of this board. So.
Yes.
Jack Becker, I do have another question, that if we are going to try to have a second meeting, because there are more tabs that have not been seen, will we, with as expedient as we got these tabs, be able to have those before the May 23rd meeting and possibly before our next May meeting, so we can have more discussion to bring to John for the May 23rd meeting?
I don't know. I mean, I guess we could talk with the consultants. I don't, to be honest, I don't know how this is normally supposed to work, but I know we shared it with the steering committee and then we were able to share it out, and it, you know, now, and the steering committee is a public meeting anyway. So then I know we were able to share it. I think when we're ready for that next one, I don't see why we couldn't. I think we just have to work out the logistics with the consultants when they have it ready to be in a shareable file. So I think we can talk about timing of all that.
Yeah, I can't guarantee timings. I don't know when these meetings are going to happen, but absolutely, I'm getting the stuff on the website as soon as we have access to it.
I mean, it would just seem like it would work because it's our April meeting. The next one is May 23rd. Our meeting will be what, May 7th or something like that. So May 13th. So there's a pretty good gap. Hopefully that meeting will get in, then we can see data.
Ideally, yeah, I'd like to have, if the consultants are willing to have another steering committee meeting, have it before May 23rd, so we could do the same, and then, share this information with you all again. And then, we'd have our meeting on the 13th, which would be before the open house, so.
I think also for the steering committee meetings, that it would be helpful if some of our members here show up. Because there's a lot of, it's almost like there's more representation from the arts and culture side of things. Then that's just my impression, Porter. I don't mean to push it, but I think if we have some board members there, that would be helpful too.
I mean, I was on the Zoom for the last one.
Yeah, we noticed that, right?
And it's in person and on Zoom, so you can listen in as well, virtually.
And when's the next steering committee meeting?
We don't have one planned. So that's just, we're working with the consultants, see if we can do another one.
Okay.
But as soon as we do, we'll get you the dates.
Okay, so let's move on. Concerns, board member, items of interest. Yes,
I'll tell her no, I had just a few things that was at the skate park opening, which was wonderful. When I was nominated to this committee, I was the third person after two people who use wheelchairs couldn't get. So I try to look through their eyes, and there is an accessible path down there. It's a little steep. Sorry, Mark, but I was just thinking maybe there could be some signage because you come right off the parking lot and go down to it. Maybe there could be some signage pointing to that accessible path to get down. Because my friend said maybe that I guess people in wheelchairs are using these parks. So I don't know if you've seen any evidence of that.
I haven't seen any in Lawrence. Personally, but I've seen people.
But nationally,
yeah, for sure.
So, so that was just a suggestion. And then I just wondered on kind of some old business, the Oak Hill Cemetery. I guess they have a little exhibit over at Watkins, but I don't know if we found any way or if we're looking for a way to not damage those headstones. I know that the mowing kind of has to continue as it continues, and that the volunteers try to repair the headstones that are damaged, but I didn't know if there were any updates on that. Like, are there any little tiny mowers? That was new to me, that you know, most cemeteries are laid out in very straight lines, and this one is.
Ours is not.
It's all windy, and it is a challenge for the maintenance. I understand that, but so you don't have to answer it right now, but I wanted to throw it out there. And then the other thing I was thinking about was, remember that kayaker proposal we had a long time ago? Oh, yes. Has anything come of that, or are we expecting them to find some money? I know that we all seem to think it was a good idea, but so.
I haven't heard anything from them recently.
Okay.
So it was kind of left in their hands. So.
Yeah, just to get the ball rolling.
Yeah. So no, Derek was working with them. I know I don't know that he had even talked to him in the last 6 to 8 months, so I'm not sure where that is.
Because I was talking to someone at the opening who was talking about Minneapolis, St. Paul, and how they, they really use the river a lot, and how nice it would be for us to have more activity on it.
Are you talking about the kayaking on the Kansas River or the one on the Wakarusa? Because there's
I
been
think
two.
it wasn't it the Kansas River where they wanted to put lockers and.
Down below the dam.
Yeah.
Don't know where that is.
So I just wondered, yeah.
Yeah. There was one on the Wakarusa River too, below the Hallberg.
Oh, that's more regional.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
So, I don't know, I can backtrack. See if it's
So I just
still
wanted to
around.
kind of bring those up and see if there's any news.
Okay, anything?
Yeah, I have a couple of things. Check record. First thing, I really liked the new shade structure that's at the splash pad on the east side. I biked by that the other day. I was very happy to see that. I wanted to check in on the Lions Park. We started kickball on Friday. The bathrooms are open. There was no water. And I feel very sorry for whoever had to clean those bathrooms. And we get to play on Friday, so if there's a way to get water or have them locked, one or the other. But it was.
When were you there?
Last Friday, and there were 4 games, so there were 16 teams playing, so there was a lot of people there, and it was not a kickball.
It's not open yet.
Well, the door was unlocked, so I can absolutely tell you that, and so, so just either have them locked, or if there's a way to get the water going for Friday, or, if we're gonna start spring sports at parks, I think we need to have accessible restrooms, so we can work on that.
Great. They should not have been unlocked. I know that they said they had them on, so maybe they had a problem.
Okay. So.
Yeah, Andrea here, the ref did say that they were functioning, so I don't think he knew that the water wasn't on either, so.
I told them too, I was like, oh. Yeah. I didn't mention I was on the board, I was like, but I'll bring it up Monday, so yeah. Thanks.
Marilyn Hull, I would like to talk about the Outdoor Aquatic Center. I was a little bit surprised to see that a survey went out asking people to rank amenities when we haven't even really talked about, do we have any aspirations in terms of the pool? What do we want to happen there? Are there operational things that probably need to change before or during or after the renovation? I'm eager to have that conversation. So maybe it's an item for next meeting.
We have we're literally just starting public engagement on this. So the whole idea is all this year we'll do public engagement on what's there, what do we want to keep, what do we want to change, what do we aspire to do. So I don't think you're being cut out. I just think the survey got out before the public meeting's coming up. I can't remember what the date of the public meeting is. We can get you that, but it's coming
No,
up.
I think I have it on my calendar. It's just.
Are you saying, Marilyn, that you don't think they should be asking questions about amenities?
Lazy river surf thing is, are we making this more like a water park, and are the prices going to go up? Or is this going to be a community swimming pool that prioritizes swimming lessons, equity, access, and keeping the prices low?
That, to me, is what the whole public engagement will answer. Because I might have a view, but she might have a different view. So I don't think it's where do you start with it. You could have the public meeting first and then do a survey. They opted, and this company has done a lot of pool renovations. So their feeling is start to get some information boiling and then have a meeting so that you can at least have an idea of what people might be thinking about. But it is going to be a interesting for a year, I would guess, because I don't think a lot of people will agree with each other. I think you'll have lap swimmers against the recreational people versus the preschoolers versus, so it'll be an interesting process. Some people want to move it completely out of downtown. Other people is like, no, it's always been there, it has to stay there. So I'm not sure how that'll go. It'll be interesting, for sure.
would it be inappropriate for us to discuss it in an advisory board meeting?
I don't think so. And I think once we get to the public meeting, I think they should start to put together what they heard from the public meeting, and then maybe that's when it comes here. So, yeah, the architects honestly have no concept of what they aren't recommending anything. They're just throwing out ideas from other places they've worked. So.
And that
Meeting is the 17th.
Yeah, 17th. It says 5:30 to 7.
Yeah.
When is it meeting?
April 17th, next Wednesday at the Carnegie, 5:30.
Would it make sense to include that on the agenda for our May meeting?
Sure.
Okay, ready to move on? Oh, I'm sorry.
St. Thomas, whatever. The new, at the skate park opening was really cool, but it's cool to cut the ribbon. The new fence on the northeast ramp, some of us have some concerns about it. I don't know if it's like not fully finished yet, but it's not 100% secured, it seems like. There's some spots where it has a lot of give. And then that style, I don't know how to describe it, that style of like wiring, the checkered stuff, kind of seems a little bit dangerous because you fall back and you reach to support yourself and might stick your hand through it, or it might just hurt. So I don't know if other people have talked about maybe sprucing it up a bit, or at least like adding some sort of flatter surface to absorb impact, because sometimes, I mean, not all the time, sometimes when you're going up on a ramp, you might fall back. And the kind of nice thing about that wood fence was at least like you wouldn't be falling into like a kind of metal wire gate. You're just falling more on a flat surface. And then also, yeah, some parts don't seem like they're fully screwed in to the support posts. But yeah, that's our feedback.
We'll take it. Yeah.
Sweet.
It was modeled after
The
that.
wheels needed on it too.
Yeah, we actually had one of my friends, she's a roller skater, got her wheel stuck in there. But yeah.
Okay. We'll take a look.
Oh,
And you have other news.
I do have some other news. I accepted a job up in Minneapolis, so I'll be moving at the end of the month since my last board meeting.
Wow, congrats.
Congrats, hate to see you go.
Yeah, it's gonna be so bittersweet, but I'm really excited. But this has been a lot of fun participating in this and being able to benefit the community, and yeah, it's been great.
You made a difference for sure.
Okay, let's see. Parks report?
I have a question, and I haven't been around for a while, but maybe you give me an update of the traffic out at YSC. It's been ongoing, we all know that for years. Where are we with KDOT in that intersection? I know there was an accident out there this past Saturday, cars both ways, about 150 cars, north and south at the stoplight, and people trying to get out at the same time. It's always been a mess until that gets fixed. Where are we on that?
So the fix is the K10 expansion, right? So that's going to start construction this fall. So it'll be a while before we get to the real fix. The real fix is K10 will come up and over Wakarusa.
Right.
Wakarusa will come under, it'll give us a second access out of the south side of the park. So there'll be a roundabout on the southeast corner of that park. And everything coming out 27th Street will actually funnel right into Wakarusa. So it'll be smooth sailing once we get there. It's going to be a year or two away. So in the project we're currently working on, those turf fields in the northwest corner, we're planning to put a second access out to 27th Street. So that still takes you back to the same spot on K10. However, that allows the complex to circulate. Because right now the problem is you get back on the west side, then you got to come right back into the east side. people are trying to back out of their stalls.
Yeah.
Can't back out.
Exactly.
So I think that'll help us a lot temporarily until the highway intersection gets fixed. But our idea is make it a circular pattern, so you basically go out the west end of the complex and the east end.
So that southwest roundabout, you said this fall, will that be in place for Little League football and fall soccer or after that?
No. The northwest access road out. So northwest is where the new soccer fields will be going. There'll be an access out to 27th Street. So that'll happen this fall-ish. So that'll give us routing through the roundabout on the southeast is going to be later because that'll actually tie into the highway entrance.
Right.
So you'll come out of that backside of the complex and you can jump right on the highway, or you can go to Wakarusa and go under. So yeah, it's not good and it might get a little bit worse.
Well, and it's bad, even worse now because of Wakarusa.
Yeah.
Everything you get to the, 23rd
Yep.
and trying to go north
Absolutely.
on Wakarusa is just 2 lanes. And
Yeah. No, it's,
Okay.
challenging.
Okay, any other? Okay, then let's move on to, let's see, Mark, you have a report?
Yeah, so obviously we had this park ribbon cutting this last Saturday. It was well attended and had a lot of fun, perfect day. So that was cool. The restrooms and shelters open a week from today, so next Monday the 15th. So hopefully all the water will be on, not just open. But that's when we really did full stride on getting into the summer season with all the reservations and all the shelters. We do the nightly lockup of all the restrooms and weekends and everything. So maintenance staff are doing a lot of work right now because we had a lot of broken pipes this winter. We didn't know why. So we had a huge problem over here. So we tried to open that one early and that didn't happen. So we're working on it. Clinton Park, the playground reconstruction started today. So that new playground should be going in the next week or two, surfacing in right after that. So I'm hoping for the next month that playground will be reopened again.
Where is that?
Clinton Park is right off 5th Street, just behind King's School. So we tore the old playground out about a month ago, and the new one will be coming right back in. So that's moving right along. The trail from 8th Street to 7th Street should be starting, if it haven't been over there this week, it should be starting soon. So that'll connect the Lawrence Loop at least over to the Santa Fe station, which is good because that's kind of one of our trail hub ideas, because that's where you start if you want to ride, take your car over, take your bike out and go for a ride. So that'll be happening in the next month or two. It's not a very long section. It's just down along the railroad tracks. Mowing has started everywhere, and the grass is growing faster than we can mow it. So if you don't have enough staff, that's okay. And then Nature Center, I wanted to compliment Dara. It's kind of been fun because the maintenance staff and her kind of started to do stuff that I don't even know about sometimes. Like, what are we doing? But every time you go over there, she has this next idea for what we want to do. So we've done a lot of work on clearing of invasive species. So it really looks different over there if you haven't been over there, because you can see it as you come down the road. You can see the center. And the idea is let's convert it back to native species and get some native grasses growing and get it back to where it used to be. We have aerial photos of when the Nature Center was built, and what it eventually evolved into was just kind of an overgrown mess. So we kind of took the mess out. We're working with native plants to do the seeding, so we'll be doing that here next week or two. And then the Nature Center interior renovations, we've done just a whole bunch of stuff in there to kind of modernize it a little bit. So it's been a lot of fun. And it's going to be ongoing for another year or so. But it's truly the programming she's doing over there is pretty darn cool, because it's just whole new ideas, and we were maybe a little stagnant over there before. So that's about it. It's spring, if you haven't noticed. It's hitting us hard right now. So.
Order?
No, I just a bell rung question. Did the seeds resprout from the, over there, they were kind of hand planting some of those seeds, weren't they?
Yeah, in the prairie itself.
Yeah.
So as the prairie comes back to life in the spring, we'll see what if there was damage or if it basically recoups. So the way it looked last fall, it was in pretty good shape. We're seeing a lot of species that, kind of got nipped back with the spray, come back out of it. So, the Kansas Biological Survey group is still monitoring the prairie. So it's kind of an independent audit. So they just give us reports and say, okay, here's what's out there now. The last report we had last fall was pretty positive that the species count was high. So as it comes out of it this spring, we'll see what the species count looks like and then do corrective action if we need to go find some things or seed things in, so.
Jackie Becker, it might be, I know we did a tour of, one of our buildings once, since a bunch of us have not been there, maybe we could have a meeting or a tour before we have another meeting to check out what's happening out at the Nature Center.
Yeah, I think a meeting location, especially as that KU group gets their shelter going. That's going to be an interesting, they have a month because they have to have it done before school's out.
We don't like moving the meeting
That's
though.
true.
That's what we have talked about is doing a tour. For a separate tour time, like we've taken the bus out. We just need to get that coordinated on people's schedules. I figured we'd wait until the new director came in and kind of got that all put together. I think that's probably the better thing. And his first meeting will be the next meeting. His first day will be May 13th when the meeting is.
Any other comments? Okay, let's see, Porter.
The Art Commission meeting falls on the second Wednesday of the month, so that's happening this Wednesday at 7:30. If anybody's interested in tuning into that. A couple of dovetail situations already popped up. Been working with Mark on the KU project, and Suzanne Hampton, who's part of that project, is also doing an art project for the outdoor downtown sculpture exhibition program. But her art is going to be over there. She's doing some ephemeral art with clay and stuff, so she's going to make towers. It'll be part of that, not directly part, but near that project. So that's exciting. And also on the completion or the section of loop that Mark was talking about from 8th to 7th, the Art Center has taken the lead on doing a La Yarda public art project. And we just finished the first round of looking at those artists. We had a great response nationally for artists interested in that project. So that's really exciting. And moving along, we're going to do an RFP for, I think, 3 selected artists from that initial round. So that's happening. It's been a real pleasure. I mean, the more I learn about La Yarda, the more intriguing it becomes, fascinating, social sort of cultural circumstances. Right. And then save the date, final Friday in May will be the opening of the Outdoor Downtown Sculpture Exhibition. And we do we meet at the Visitor Center at 5:30, and then we do a sculpture walk. We won't hit everything, obviously, but it's really fun. And we're hoping in May it won't be 98 degrees like it was last year in June. So
When is that?
May 31st, which is final Friday. 5:30 p.m. meet at the Visitor Center, and we'll start from there and then go out and see some of the artworks. And I try to get the artists to go along with us so they can speak about each of their artworks. We have 7 artists this year that are participating.
Okay. Thank you.
Uh-huh.
Questions for Porter? Recreation report?
Okay, lots going on in the recreation world. Hopefully you're able to read the report. So once anybody has any questions, I'll move on from there. As far as the interim director's report, as Roger said, our new director will be starting at our next meeting, so I'll be handing the baton back. But so again, his name is Luis Ruiz. So we are anxious to get him here and up and running. So that will be fun for you all to meet him next month. One thing I wanted to mention that was a question that John had brought up a few weeks ago, and I wanted to kind of share the discussion with the board, and that is, as we're going through our comprehensive plan, part of it is to provide a vision for how arts and culture fits with Parks and Rec. So as you know, we are now Parks, Rec, Arts and Culture. We're still trying to figure out what that acronym should be and look like. So hopefully at the end of the comprehensive plan, we'll have an official name for our department. But again, we are all of those components together. However, we have 2 separate boards. So we have the Arts Commission and we have this advisory board. As of now, they are staying separate. And so I think part of, this is new for everybody. With Luis coming on, well, hopefully he can help provide some direction with that as well. But, the question is how do we work with the two boards that we're not meeting at the same time, but we're one department. So those are things that we're just going to continue to work on together. And I think the comp plan and our new director and just as a group and as staff, we'll just continue to figure out how that works and works together. But again, Porter and Roger attend these meetings. So if questions come up regarding arts, they can easily answer questions or take that back to the Arts Commission if needed, and vice versa. So again, just that was a question that had come up, and we just thought it was, worth at least just sharing that, we have discussed it, kind of as a group. And again, it's new, and we're going to kind of figure things out as we go, just as we are with a lot of other components of this. So with that, the only other thing I want to say is just thank you to Sam. We really appreciate your time and just joining us for the people here. We really appreciate it.
Don't you dare. Candace, come here.
All right, that's all I have.
John, if I may.
Yeah.
You asked me to reach out to Stan Hurt.
Yes.
And I did do that. He's a busy guy. Because we've been trying to get coffee together and it just hasn't happened. But regarding the levy, so here's his response via email. Yes, the design of the levy was intended as semi-permanent, but it does bother me a bit for visitors of Florence, presuming that it looks like a shoddy bit of work. A few years back, the city came up with a few thousand to just clean it up, straighten the lines to give it a new look. 2 weeks later, we had the deepest flooding that we've had in years, and it took the bottom 5 feet off. That's when the flooding occurred. I believe that was an anomaly and likely won't happen again. So he's saying for something around $6,000, we could give a facelift that would probably last another 7 or 8 years to establish the work as a permanent mosaic with permission from the Corps of Engineers, ? Might take about $20,000. So that's what he's throwing out as possibilities, just FYI.
Wow. Why don't you write a check?
Yeah, here was the Schultz Environmental Fund. Community Foundation could be a potential funder for that because Schultz is very interested in both arts and the environment and the intersection of the two. So that could be a good fit. And I think their deadline is in October, so,
Will you look into that, Porter?
I will. Thank you. Great advice.
That's great. Just doesn't seem like that much money. Someone will be able to do it. Okay. All right. Let's see. Any other business for the day, for the night? Okay, then I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I would like to.
Very well.
Yeah.
Is there a second?
Yeah.
Okay, second. Okay, all in favor of adjourning, say aye. Aye. Yeah, all right, opposed? Okay, thank you, thanks, Amy. Thank you.
When we built some copies for Mill City's copyright, they build actual copyrights when it's all good, so.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
I drive on.
So is that